Have you ever wondered why some people can speak softly yet command deep respect, or why others, no matter how loud they talk, lose credibility with every word? It all comes down to one thing: communication. Your words can either build bridges or burn them. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe, because every week we explore how to elevate your mindset and master yourself through Stoicism and self-improvement. 1. The language of respect. Respectful communication isn't about sounding perfect, it's about being intentional. Every word you speak leaves an impression, whether it's a whisper of encouragement or a careless remark that lingers in someone's mind. Respect begins where ego ends. It's not found in lofty vocabulary or polished rhetoric, but in the quiet discipline of considering how your words might land on another person's heart. The language of respect is not about winning arguments or appearing intelligent. It's about ensuring that your message uplifts rather than diminishes. To speak respectfully is to recognize the humanity in others, even when you disagree. It means you value understanding over victory, dialogue over dominance, and connection over control. When your tone, your timing, and your truth align, people feel understood. It is not enough to simply say the right thing. How and when you say it matter just as deeply. A kind truth told harshly becomes a weapon. A correction offered gently becomes a gift. Respectful communication is an art that balances honesty with empathy. It requires self-awareness, the ability to pause before speaking, to gauge your intention, and to decide whether your words will build or break. Those who master this balance don't just speak, they inspire calm and trust. In a world filled with noise and ego, the person who listens before speaking becomes a leader. Most people listen only to reply, not to understand, but the respectful communicator listens deeply, with curiosity instead of judgment, with patience instead of pride. Listening is not passive. It is a profound act of respect. It tells the other person, your perspective matters, you matter. This is why true respect often begins in silence. From that silence grows clarity, and from clarity, the words that follow carry weight. Respectful communication turns ordinary interactions into moments of meaning. A respectful word can de-escalate conflict, mend relationships, and even change the course of a day. It is not about always agreeing, it's about disagreeing without demeaning. Respect allows truth to travel safely between two minds, and in time, those who practice it discover something powerful, that being respectful doesn't make you weak, it makes you trusted. It makes your presence a place of calm in a chaotic world, and that is where real influence begins. 2. The Stoic principle: speak less, mean more. The Stoics believed that speech is a reflection of the mind. To speak carelessly is to reveal a restless, ungoverned spirit. To speak with measure and calm is to reveal strength and mastery. Words, in the Stoic sense, are not tools for self-display. They are extensions of thought and therefore of character. A wise person chooses words the way a craftsman chooses tools, carefully, with purpose, knowing that each one shapes the outcome. When your mind is calm, your words follow. The Stoics taught that silence and restraint are not signs of ignorance but of wisdom. They understood that those who rush to speak often speak from emotion, not reason. A turbulent mind produces turbulent speech. But when you have mastered your inner world, when you pause before reacting, when you observe your impulses before obeying them, your words acquire gravity. They cease to be noise and become guidance. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's the essence of respectful communication. Self-control first, reaction second. Before you correct another, correct your tone. Before you criticize, check your motives. Before you speak, ensure that your words serve truth rather than vanity. The Stoic doesn't speak to impress. but to express what is necessary. He does not waste words on gossip, nor does he seek to fill silence out of discomfort. For the Stoic, silence is not emptiness. It is space for wisdom to emerge. You don't need to dominate a conversation to earn respect. The person who speaks the most rarely leads the deepest. You earn respect through measured words and clear intentions. People sense when your words come from a place of thoughtfulness rather than impulse. They sense when your speech carries purpose rather than pride. And that quiet authority, that disciplined restraint, is what gives your words their power. To speak less and mean more is to live deliberately. It means understanding that every word carries consequence. Every statement echoes beyond the moment it is spoken. The Stoic seeks not to be heard by everyone, but to be understood by those who listen. In this way, the Stoic principle becomes timeless. Speak when necessary, listen always, and let your silence teach as much as your words. 3. Kindness and clarity, the two pillars. Kindness without clarity is weakness. It comforts but rarely corrects. It soothes but often avoids the truth. When we mistake avoidance for kindness, we create confusion, both for ourselves and for others. True kindness does not mean saying what others want to hear. It means caring enough to tell them what they need to hear, but in a way that preserves their dignity. A kind communicator uses gentleness as a bridge for truth, not a disguise for avoidance. Kindness, when authentic, is courageous. It chooses empathy even when honesty is hard. Clarity without kindness is cruelty. It may be factually right, but emotionally wrong. Words spoken without compassion can wound deeply, even when they are true. The goal of clarity is not to win, but to illuminate. To be clear is to be honest, but to be wisely clear is to speak truth in a way that can be received. A harsh truth shouted in anger is noise. A gentle truth spoken in care becomes transformation. That is the difference between arrogance and integrity. True mastery lies in combining both, kindness and clarity, in equal measure. When you balance the two, your words gain both warmth and weight. You can be direct without being demeaning, firm without being frightening. This balance is not natural, it must be cultivated. It requires the humility to care and the courage to confront. The kind and clear communicator does not sugarcoat reality, but neither do they weaponize truth. They understand that tone can either open the heart or close it. Speak in a way that's firm, but never demeaning. Correct without humiliating. Disagree without disrespect. Communication anchored in kindness and clarity turns confrontation into understanding and conflict into growth. When people feel seen and respected, even hard truths can be accepted with grace. This is the essence of mature dialogue, not the absence of conflict, but the presence of care. When you communicate with kindness and clarity, you become someone others want to listen to, not someone they try to escape. You create an atmosphere where honesty feels safe. People may not always agree with you, but they will trust your intention. And that trust is the foundation of all strong relationships, personal, professional, or otherwise. Kindness softens hearts, clarity sharpens minds. Together, they turn mere words into wisdom. 4. Avoiding the traps of ego. The easiest way to lose respect is to let anger dictate your words. Every insult, every sarcastic jab, every moment of pettiness. These are not signs of strength, but of insecurity. Anger disguises itself as power, whispering that to lash out is to win. But the wise understand that true power lies in restraint. When you speak from anger, you surrender control. When you stay composed, you command the situation. Ego is a skilled deceiver. It convinces you that reacting loudly will earn you dominance, when in truth it only exposes how easily you can be provoked. Consider how often people regret the words they speak in anger. A harsh phrase can undo years of trust. A single outburst can tarnish a reputation built through patience and effort. The Stoics warned against this centuries ago. The man who cannot govern his emotions is ruled by them. Every time you give in to ego, that subtle urge to defend, to retaliate, to be right, you chip away at your own dignity. Silence, on the other hand, never needs to be taken back. It leaves space for thought, and in that space lies strength. Silence is not weakness. It is discipline made audible. It says, I do not need to prove myself in this moment. The man who can remain calm in the face of insult earns more respect than the one who wins an argument. People instinctively admire composure. It represents self-mastery, a rare quality in a world of impulsive reactions. To stay silent when provoked is to recognize that your value is not determined by someone else's words. You become untouchable because your peace no longer depends on how others treat you. Avoiding the traps of ego means refusing to fight every battle that calls your name. Not every disagreement needs your participation. Not every accusation deserves your defense. Pride tempts you to respond, to set the record straight, to have the last word, but wisdom reminds you that silence often outlasts noise. In the long run, people remember calmness, not chaos. To pause before reacting is to reclaim your authority over yourself. That single breath before speaking is where respect begins. Both the respect you give others and the respect you earn for yourself. So the next time you feel anger rise, treat it as a test. Pause, breathe, ask yourself, will these words build or break? Will they strengthen my image or stain it? The moment you choose restraint over reaction, you step beyond ego. You show that mastery of self is the highest form of respect for others and for your own character. True strength does not shout. It stands silently, unmoved, while chaos passes by. That is the power of one who has learned to avoid the traps of ego. 5. A lesson from a diplomat. Think of a great diplomat, someone who diffuses tension, not fuels it. Their gift lies not in domination, but in understanding. They read the room before they speak, sense emotion before it's expressed, and respond with measured words that disarm conflict rather than feed it. A true diplomat knows that communication is not about winning, it's about alignment. Their strength is not in authority, but in articulation, the ability to shape words that carry both precision and empathy. In every conversation, they balance firmness with grace. They know when to speak and when to listen, when to stand their ground and when to let silence speak for them. Silence in their hands is not emptiness, it's strategy. It invites others to reveal themselves, to fill the space with their own truth. A wise diplomat lets others talk not because they lack something to say, but because listening is how they gain power. The one who listens most learns the most, and in learning, they lead with insight rather than impulse. There is much to learn from this approach, not only in politics or negotiation, but in everyday life. At work, diplomacy turns friction into collaboration. In relationships, it transforms misunderstanding into mutual respect. Even in your inner dialogue, the way you speak to yourself, diplomacy matters. How often do we sabotage our own peace with harsh self-talk, demanding perfection or replaying mistakes? A diplomat within would speak with balance, acknowledging flaws without self-condemnation, guiding growth without cruelty. That is emotional intelligence in its purest form. The diplomat's art lies in control, not over others, but over themselves. They regulate tone, timing, and temperament. Their goal is not to overpower, but to influence, to bring clarity where there is confusion. This skill, once cultivated, becomes invaluable in every sphere of life. Whether you are mediating a disagreement, presenting an idea, or comforting a friend, the ability to speak with calm conviction sets you apart. It builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every form of power that lasts. To live as a diplomat is to treat words as instruments of harmony rather than weapons of ego. It's knowing that silence can persuade more deeply than argument, and that patience often resolves what pressure cannot. The world rewards those who can speak well, but it reveres those who can listen well. Learn when to express, when to observe, and when to let stillness carry your message. In doing so, you master not only conversation, but character itself. So let this be the lesson. Diplomacy is the art of leading without force. It is the quiet strength that calms storms, and the wisdom that knows peace is not passive. It is intentional. Cultivate that presence, and you will find influence flows naturally, without the need for dominance. You will command not through fear, but through respect, the mark of a true diplomat in every sphere of life. Your words shape your world, so choose them with purpose. Speak with kindness, lead with clarity, and let respect echo through your voice. If this message resonates with you, subscribe and join me on this journey of self-mastery and Stoic motivation. Because becoming your best self starts with something simple: how you speak.